Hey, good morning, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started here. Uh, quick intro. I'm Brian Gorney. I lead sports and entertainment practice area within Verizon Business, and joined here this morning by with Grant Nodine from the NHL. Grant, good morning.
Morning, everyone.
Thanks for being here. Look
You're welcome.
excited about the convo. I'll start us off quickly. Uh, at Verizon, we are very excited and proud to continue our partnership with the NHL. It's a multi-year, long-term partnership, and we have a lot going on. We have some things relative to technology deployment, private 5G in the arenas, so we'll talk about that. We also, you may have seen in the press, we recently were part of the NHL's Innovation Lab launch, which is really cool, and we'll touch on that as well. So some really fun stuff to talk about. I'll also start us off, Grant. If you wouldn't mind, love to just have you give the audience a quick intro and your role with the NHL.
I'm Grant Nodine. I'm the SVP of Technology at the NHL. I've been there almost 27 years. The month, it'll be there 27 years. I've built a lot of things along the way. Generally speaking, I act as our architect for all of our systems. Globally, so that I really am looking at how do technologies interact with each other in our venues, and how do they interact with the technology that we have in our office, and then how do they interact with the cloud and beyond.
Awesome. That's a lot. You got a lot going on. And the playoffs kicked off this weekend, right? How
Yeah,
about
the best playoffs in sports.
that's it? And I think the Knights got a win last night, right?
Knights did get a win last night. I was fortunate enough to sit in the stands as a fan, which is not something that I've done very frequently of late. And unfortunately, but it was nice to see it from kind of the other side of the fence a little bit.
That's awesome. Yeah, good win for the home team here in Vegas. So, hey, let's jump in. We'll start off with you just talked about your tenure with the NHL and the things that you have responsibility for. Can you share with the audience just over the last several years some of the advances in technology that have really impacted how the NHL delivers the game itself, just as a baseline?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest changes that we made a few years ago was we really started focusing on how do we orchestrate all of these technologies in a predictable way that allows us to basically manage the increasing complexity of all the things that we do. It really boiled down to an 18-month endeavor to basically orchestrate all of our video into the cloud. We've moved all of our linear distribution to the cloud. And it's really been, focusing on how can we use networks to basically do some of the work for us, and to make us able to bring our game closer to the fans.
Right. So you networks, you mentioned content. I know a lot of work around kind of the archive and getting that out to the fans, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're pushing video into the cloud, and it's getting repurposed about 5 different ways, kind of immediately. And it's really the amazing thing that's kind of accelerating, obviously, in this era is how much better discovery is about what video is, right, and what's in it, and what it means, and that just can superpower our ability to tell stories about our game. And telling stories about our game is what brings people in.
Right. Yeah, you're growing the fan base and giving fans an experience and access to content and
We want to try to even supercharge that even.
awesome.
I think there are lots of opportunities to make content capture easier in the venues, both with private 5G and and with other aspects. But really being able to spread that, and the innovation lab is really about the ability to spread those technologies out to all of the constituencies that we're trying to fulfill, right? Whether that's fans, coaches, players, officials, on ice officials, and really understanding how we can do things in that environment, in that innovation lab environment, that require an ice surface year round that we didn't have, and it was always a challenge because our big kind of R&D efforts happen in the off season, and I have no buildings that have ice rinks in them, and it becomes very difficult to test, particularly optical systems and things like that that you want to put into play, and you really have to be very, very cadence oriented about how you introduce those things over time, and you have to really be able to say, hey, I can prove this out in 2 months, but I need another season before I'm going to be able to actually push it out to all the venues, and how am I going to improve it over that period of time.
On the lab itself, can you care to share with the audience what any of kind of the initial use cases or technologies that you and the team are thinking about testing there?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're really interested in, obviously moving the bar a little bit on immersive audio. I think we can be a lot better in that area. I think we're really looking at how can we use, smaller kind of camera devices that are very low profile, that I can get closer to the ice surface. The biggest challenge for us is obviously I can't put cameras on the ice surface. Except when they're not playing, right? And putting stuff on the top of the glass obstructs fans' views and things like that. So it's really important to be able to say, "Hey, I've got this technology dialed in. It's not going to be a distraction to the fans that are actually sitting in the arena trying to watch the game, but it's going to add to the vitality of the content." So things like um, multi-lens rail cams and things like that are using AI to switch slowly between camera angles and give you the effect of a follow without having a giant robo sitting on top of the glass, so it's really, there's a lot of interesting things I think we want to pilot there. Certainly want to look at some of the stuff that that I've seen out in the wild with uh, sensor based horizon correction and things like that, so we can start thinking about potentially putting cameras on referees and goalies. I know that FIFA has done a lot of that, but a FIFA referee is running and he's not traveling at 20 miles an hour, and has doesn't have a tilt angle when he's making turns and things like that. So I look to the motorcycle racing as really a
MotoGP.
MotoGP as a really good way to understand kind of what's the art of the possible there. And I think that that's going to yield some results fairly quickly, and I hope that's something that we're working on in the innovation lab really soon. Certainly trying to get microphone arrays and immersive audio capture devices as close to the ice surface as we can, potentially even perforating boards in a way that is not going to potentially impact the bounce of the puck off of them or impact their resilience over time. And really looking at new ways that we can gather video footage around the ice surface and get those cameras as close to the play as possible.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. The NHL Innovation Lab, which is powered by Verizon, but it's really an opportunity for the NHL and its tech partner ecosystem to come together and collaborate. And as Grant mentioned, look at many different types of AI and just overall tech and game use cases that the league will be looking at. So we're super excited to be a part of that.
And it's really an environment that's meant to fail fast and frequently,
Move
and
on
and
or
so
adjust.
and to be able to really dive into, hey, I have rack space that I can offer you. I have a network that's sitting here. I don't have some of the restrictions that I have running inside of our corporate network, so I'm able to go and bring a vendor in, do a quick prototype inside of a week or two, and be able to turn back around and reclaim that space for the next experiment.
That's great. And you mentioned the like a potential use case, the referee cam. We were here last night talking with FIFA and Fox Sports about the referee view body
I
cam.
have not talked to the referees about this, so
Yeah.
that
Make sure you note that, right?
that's another conversation entirely. The can we do it is the first step. The should we do it is the next step, right? And that's always a different conversation.
You've got a little selling to do. It sounds like, right, on your side. So that's great. But that lab is going to be just a really great opportunity to drive the game and the sport really.
Yeah, and also it's also about moving more and more of our workflows over to the private 5G network as
Exactly.
well, right? And so being able to have that environment where I've got a private network that I'm not depending on for gameplay night in, night out means that I can also conduct testing all season long, and I'm not limited anymore to most of my R&D happening in the summertime. So it's really been a liberating idea that this is going to happen, and then when it finally did, it was really a great moment for us.
Yeah, and if we didn't mention it, that the lab is actually located in New Jersey at or inside the
At the Prudential
Prudential
Center.
Center. Yeah, so just for noteworthy. Okay, great. So let's shift. Let's talk about. Let's go a little deeper into the arena connectivity. Private 5G is obviously a big piece of that for the NHL going forward.
Yeah, so as somebody who's been kind of trying to steward our technology efforts over the years, somebody in the organization has to read FCC comment things and pay attention to what spectrum allocation looks like, and so as does Verizon, obviously.
Of course.
But really understanding kind of what the wireless landscape looks like going forward, and hearing obviously all of our venues, working with different partners around arena Wi-Fi and things like that, and how you've become very dependent on wireless networking to basically move key video angles around for goal reviews and officiating and things like that. And you have to look at that with a long lens and say, I've got to protect this capability that we have because this is vital to our ability to support and play the games night in and night out. So it's really about understanding that, hey, a frequency shift is coming and we've got to basically be ahead of that. And that was the genesis of saying, we need to migrate to a private 5G network because supporting access points underneath benches for player and coach video on the bench and in the locker rooms gets harder and harder and harder in an environment where more and more frequencies are getting claimed by arena wireless systems that are meant to allow fans to consume content and produce their own content and upload videos and things like that, right? And so I don't want to compete with the fans. I want to have them have as whatever unfettered wireless access they need, but I need to protect our game day operations. And protect our ability to kind of generate, use that network to get unique content out to people and to be able to really feed that insatiable desire for NHL content among our fan base, and hopefully grow that fan base exponentially.
So it's a game operations deployment, but actually the outcome that it's generating, a lot of it ties to fan experience and the views and the angles and some of the shots that you're
it definitely does. I mean,
right?
certainly, the wireless frequencies that we use that are not Wi-Fi or weren't Wi-Fi until a few years ago, coming out of our goals. I've got 3 cameras in every goal, and there's no way to wire them. They've always had to be wireless, and those have migrated from different radio systems over the years, and being able to go and say, I know that I have a private network that is dedicated to making these goal cams work night in, night out, and I'm not going to be competed with on that network for that traffic, because those are obviously incredibly important to our ability to make the very close calls that happen, and playoff games are incredibly high profile, and there's a lot of value to winning or losing each one. And you want to make sure that competition happens on the ice and is not is not being influenced by a failure of your technology.
And just for a quick baseline for the audience, because this came up in a discussion last night, just private 5G, you may have familiarity with it. From a Verizon perspective, we're seeing high adoption across sports and entertainment for specifically for game and event operation type use cases. And just to boil it down to something that we all can understand, it is effectively we are deploying a cellular network in each of the NHL arenas that is private to the NHL. So the only thing that can get on that cellular network is a device or basically what we call a registered SIM that is able to join the NHL's network. We as fans or spectators do not and will not be able to join that private 5G network. So that's just a quick baseline. And then Grant, can you talk? You mentioned goalie cam. Can you talk a little bit about just our, as we continue through the deployment and it goes into production in the months ahead and next season? Can you talk a little bit about some of the initial use cases that you're going to put onto that private 5G?
Sure. I mean, certainly the goal cams are a big one. Certainly we've wanted to give the officials the ability to roam away from the scorers table when they're looking at a coach's challenge review, and they're looking at the video that Toronto is playing down to a device, and because of the wireless network, we'll be able to truly untether that device and make it a truly wireless experience for them, which means that potentially they are granted a little more privacy than having to do it huddled right by the penalty box door, and so certainly that is playing a role. Certainly all of the video and statistics and analytic applications that we're putting on the bench into the coaches and players' hands are going to very highly leverage the ability to put video onto that network and deliver it to devices that are protected. And one of the key things about private 5G is that we're able to use the private 5G's networks management layer to make sure that a SIM that's registered to a device for the home team cannot access any of the devices or any of the data flowing on over the away team's devices, and vice versa, so that there's no longer any room for any of the teams to have an advantage in that respect, and there's no way for one team to try to spy on another team or whatever. Not that I'm saying that that's happened, but I wouldn't say that that's not part of gamesmanship, and it could happen. I want to make sure that on our network,
effectively not possible. Happen. Right. And tying that brings me to a tie back to the innovation lab, which will be a platform not only for different comms use cases, data and analytics, of course, video use cases like the goal cam, but you've got some future or forward looking concepts. Obviously, some of those are connected to AI, and you've got a place to test out different devices, right, as well.
Yes. So, I mean, certainly I can add additional camera angles to those bench iPads for the players. I can give them different views of the game. I can provide, camera systems that would be impossible to place just because of cabling necessities, and be able to actually leverage those into this environment as well. So that's super important to us, is really be able to support the coaches and the video coaches and the players so that they can actually go and get real-time information about what's happening on the ice, and how to react to certain situations, and it's a very easy flowing system for them, and frankly, it's a great thing for the IT part of the NHL to not be supporting access points that you've got venue networks that are trying to hunt and destroy rogue access points, and there won't be a week that goes by that we're not making a call to some venue network contact and say, hey, you're stepping on our access points, or I've got to crank my gain way up on my antenna to be able to get access, and that's all of those kind of troubleshooting steps that we were, having people be on call during games to support are no longer as necessary. And so really being able to kind of put that out of our minds and really just think about how do we make the access and the products on the bench better, rather than how do we make sure that we're going to have connectivity next week?
And I think what you just said summarizes for me what we're very excited about is this network deployment impacts outcomes and use cases really across the fans, the coaches, the players, as well as the officials. Like it's expansive. And then as well, you pull in the replay capabilities and even the broadcast side of the
Yeah, and our studios group is out with producer editors out in the field and capturing footage in all these venues, and giving them the ability to get that quickly into a Frame IO or a cloud environment, so that they can have people back home be able to immediately edit and distribute, whether it be digital, social, or long form or broadcast, be able to distribute that content as quickly as humanly possible, right? And a moment is a moment. And if you can share the moment as soon as it happens, that's what you want to try to do, right? So,
what we got the lab stood up, this deployment, right? You're looking at different new ways to deliver the game itself, but what are you most excited about going forward, from an opportunity perspective?
I'm excited about a lot of things, but certainly I'm excited about really getting a lot of these workflows running and really starting to think about what's the next thing that I want to do on this network, and start to really stretch our legs in terms of what we think is possible.
That's great. Any other last comments, thoughts for the audience, just on the where things are headed from an NHL perspective?
Well, I mean, I think we've had a great season this year, and I'm sure that we're going to have a really compelling playoffs. And certainly I'm very excited about leaning into ways to bring not only the game, but the personalities in the game to more fans. One of the things one of the things that has always been a struggle for us is really having our players be recognizable and somebody that people know by seeing them, and because they're always wearing helmets and shields, and it's kind of it's been tough to individualize them and turn them into the people that that other people gravitate towards. And the way people consume content is they want to feel like they have a relationship with with the players that are their favorites, and they want to get as close to them as they possibly can. And so really being able to kind of go and break down the traditional barriers that we've had to getting fans closer to those personalities in the game is really important to us.
That's great. Grant, thank you so much for the time. I want to thank the
You're
audience
very welcome.
for being here. Yeah, I think exciting place to be in, and we're excited to be on the journey with the NHL. So thank you.
And I'm excited for the journey because let's face it, the journey is where all the fun is.
No doubt. All right. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Good rest of the
everybody.
day.